Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. Let's take a look at what we're discussing. Interestingly, Pakistan and South Africa test match ended in a fashion that we probably didn't expect, but you've got to give credit to Pakistan. And when I mean Pakistan, particularly Mohammad Abbas. He brought Pakistan back into the game. Unfortunately, South Africa beat us by 2 wickets, but that made a window for them to qualify for the World Test Championship as well. So congratulations to the South African cricket team. And it was a test match that really lacked the skills needed for a skipper to take it with a forceful hand. And unfortunate, when you've got 2 wickets remaining and you've got about 30-40 runs on the board, then you need to come out with an out-of-the-box solution. But that didn't happen. So we saw a very lackluster Shan Masood as far as captaincy is concerned. Nonetheless, the record speaks for itself now. 9 test matches by him as a skipper. He lost 7 of them. Of course, he now moves into the next test match, which will be his 10th. He's only won 2, and that too against England on a pitch that was tailor-made for Pakistan to win. So I think a lot of questions need to be asked about the captaincy. Then, of course, we move on. We discuss the Border Gavaskar Trophy in detail with you as well, which has given us a lot to talk about. And I think the way Sunil Gavaskar expressed himself in the comm box really speaks volumes of what has been expected from this Indian team and what has been given. And I often say that, it's very hard to live outside the bubble once the bubble is popped. So India has really got to consider their future, where it's going. They've still got notable performances. Jaiswal, I think, is okay. Reddy was great. He's the reason why India moved on to the second innings. Otherwise, it would have been an innings defeat. But 184 runs still. Jasprit Bumrah has been exceptional in this series. He's the only silver lining for them. But post this era is going to be very, very difficult for India. So we discussed that as well. Time now to introduce the guests. First of all, in studios, we've been joined by senior sports journalist and expert Abdul Jabbar Faisal. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm fine. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much for joining us. We've also been joined by fellow anchor and expert Sayyid Mohammad Awais. Assalamu alaikum, Awais. How are you?
I'm good. Walaikum salam. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for joining us. And also joining us is sports expert Malik Usman Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm doing well.
Thank you for joining us as well. Now let's take a look at this report about Pakistan versus South Africa, and then we continue.
Mohammad Abbas's sensational 6-wicket performance wasn't enough to prevent South Africa from defeating Pakistan by 2 wickets in the first test at Centurion. With this win, South Africa secured a place in the World Test Championship final. Pakistan had mounted a strong fight back, reducing South Africa to 99 for 8 in their chase of 148. But the tailenders, Kagiso Rabada and Marco Jansen, held their nerve. The pair added a crucial 51-run partnership, guiding South Africa to victory. The day began with South Africa resuming at 27 for 3, and although Aiden Mukram 37 and captain Temba Bavuma 40 runs made solid contributions, they fell to Abbas. Naseem Shah also got in on the act, dismissing Kyle Verreynne for just 2. Abbas continued his brilliant spell, removing David Bedingham 14 and debutant Corbin Bosch 0 in consecutive balls, leaving South Africa on the brink of defeat. After this collapse, Marco Jansen and Kagiso Rabada fought hard, ensuring their team reaches 148 runs and securing the win.
And there you have it, all you need to know in this report about South Africa's brilliance that has propelled them, I think, to the World Test Championship. Jabbar Faisal, how would you highlight this test match? Disappointing for Pakistan, but at the same time, it gives a lot of hope to South Africa to be in that final as well.
It is very fair and square to say that there was good contest between bat and ball in the Super Sport Park Centurion. And there are many ups and downs and very good performances. But at the end of the day, Pakistani spectators were very disappointed because there were 51 runs and 2 wickets. And in the field, we were upper hand at that time. But I think so. The tailender of South Africa, both things in first and second, played bravely. They played stroke openly, independently, and put the pressure on Pakistan. But Pakistan captain strategy was unexpected, and we were not feeling that he will take this type of steps. Sometimes a captain play gambling to change the bowler, not a specialist bowler. I think when there was 30 to 35 runs short, we should change the bowling. Maybe one spinner can get breakthrough for Pakistan. But unfortunately, we lost the match and we disappointed very much to the whole nation.
Well, I think that is very particular that you talk about this, entire saga in the captaincy of Shan Masood as well. And there has been a lot of criticism, and I think for the right reasons, Awais.
If you talk about the yesterday test match, I mean specifically when you talk about Shan Masood, the biggest thing what I saw was that he was completely lost. I mean, if you just go through his decisions, the biggest thing, I remember when Shan Masood was again back to the opening department, because whole year when we talk about Shan Masood, even in the county circuit, even in his domestic structure, he has played as an opener. So I thought that he might feel a little bit relaxed, and what game plan would be that let Saim Ayub play his natural stroke and Shan Masood on the other hand just rotates the strike. But when you talk about the decision as a captain, was good to get Abbas back, getting 6 wickets out. But when you talk about the last pair which actually won the match for South Africa, Ahmed Bhai, I was really shocked to see 3 of your pacers, Naseem Shah, Khurram Shahzad and Abbas, they were consistently bowling well, and you never tried any other bowlers. So it was a best choice was that you could have gone to Khurram Shahzad, because he's very good against left-handed batsmen. He has made many outs against left-handed. You could have opted him for ball on. If not him, you could have gone to Agha Salman, because a right hand is really strong against left-hander. I don't know from which mindset did the other Amir Jamal just came up and started to ball on. What mindset was that? Secondly, you had around 2 to 3 more captains in the Pakistan team who have been a captain of Pakistan, currently a captain playing under you as a wicketkeeper. It's not a bad thing. You could have actually discussed with them what was the best possible chance, what we could have implemented over here. But he literally was completely shocked, a blank face, just standing in the wicket. I mean, that was the biggest thing what I see. Shan Masood literally has not been able to perform well in the captaincy, because he's not much talkative. He does not talk much on the field. I've never seen him running to the bowler, speaking to him, what mistake he has been doing on, or just running to the wicketkeeper, speaking to the wicketkeeper, because wicketkeeper is the best choice, because he sees all the fielders, all the shot selection, even the footwork of a batsman from that perspective. But unfortunately, you don't see that. So Shan Masood is under scrutiny. The decisions which was made, but Pakistan team overall, they did perform well. The bowling unit was really good. But one thing what I lacked is that when you talk about the depth overs, your fast bowlers specifically have forgotten the art of depth bowling, what Pakistan was known for. I remember Umar Gul was one of the strong contender for depth overs, because that Yorker deliveries were very strong. And one point what I missed was that you never had a tearaway quick in your fast bowling lineup, because Pakistan, the way back, if you go to history, 2 test matches what Pakistan won here back in 2007 one, you had Shoaib Akhtar. He was at his peak. He was as a tearaway quick in the bowling lineup. You need a tearaway quick in the bowling lineup when you play in South Africa. Pakistan did lack that kind of experience.
Well, certainly. Usman, how would you highlight this entire test match? And I think the captaincy right now is talk of the town. If I look at Pakistan's test skipper in the past recent era, then Misbah-ul Haq is the one who's captained the most test matches for Pakistan, 56 with a win-loss of 26 and 19. But if you look at, the most losses by any captain, it has been obviously by Inzamam. He lost 11 as a test skipper, won 11 as well. Shan Masood, out of the 9 matches he's captained Pakistan in, he has won just 2 of them and lost 7. So that is, something of a record that is being discussed right now.
Yeah, it has been extremely disappointing the way he has been captaining of late. In the beginning, he had that lucky break playing against Australia in Australia, because over there you don't get much exposed. Even at that time, I used to say that we all are talking about aggressive captaincy, but we have been in winning position in all the 3 test matches, yet we lost those test matches. So we have to look at those occasions as well. And then when we came back to Pakistan, he was lucky enough for the pitches that actually supported us, and it was not his captaincy that won us those series. It was the 2 bowlers that won us that series. And once again in South Africa, you have been in very, very strong position, specifically at 2 occasions. In the first innings as well, when they were trailing by 2 runs, the South Africans, and you just needed 2 wickets, and you went on to give them a massive lead. That was actually a game-winning lead, but Pakistan somehow brought themselves back into the game at 99 for 8. It was doors shut for a South African side who are popular for choking. But what happened was the 9th wicket partnership, they played over 6 and over, and they scored 51 runs without being separated. That was another problem. How are you leaking so many runs in the tail end? We have tail enders who just can't carry the bat.
And that's a
But
similar problem, Usman, with the white ball and with the red ball as well.
Yeah,
we cannot contain these tail enders.
that has been a problem for Pakistan for quite a while now. And I have to give slight edge to Shan Masood in this regard, is that it is not always about captaincy, that closing the innings. It is sometimes about the bowlers and the arsenal that you possess. Before Pakistanis had those bowlers who could clean up the tail. Awais bhai spoke about Shoaib Akhtar. If you go slightly back, it was Wasim Akram, and people used to say that they only pick up tail end wickets, and that has added to the number of wickets in their career. Umar Gul was another excellent choice deep down, taking out the tail enders. But this Pakistani side, they all are at very similar pace and line and length. If you look at Naseem, Amir, and even Khurram Shahzad, and you add Abbas as well. The difference was that Abbas was far more consistent. Otherwise, they have same style of bowling. And once you changed your top 3 bowlers, you brought in Amir Jamal. I completely agree, and that was my point of view as well. Why not try Saim or Salman Ali Agha as an off spinner? They may give a long hop, and that would be the reason for a loss in
but the
concentration,
placement
give you a
itself,
wicket.
Usman, often we've seen in test matches. I remember the famous test match we won against West Indies, where Yasir Shah got the last wicket of the very last ball. Now the trick is that if he was able to put about 5-6 fielders around Rabada and get Salman or Saim, then we would have expected something different. You know, psychologically we would have had that advantage. But that field placement has been very, very tricky. But you know, and even the decision of bringing in Amir Jamal, where he bowled a no ball, and you know, things went berserk. Had it worked, it would have been something different. But you know, this is all critical right now.
See, I think he made a decision over there as well. When you need 10-12 runs, you don't try a bowler at that time. I completely agree with sir. What he stated was, when the new batting pair, Kagiso Rabada, joined Jansen in the 9th wicket partnership, that was the time you could have targeted the South African tail end. You could have brought in an off spinner with the fielders around, probably a gully, a slip fielder, maybe a silly leg fielder, and you could have put a pressure on the South Africans and send a message that it is not about runs, we are going to pick up wickets. But what you did not even change the fielding positions, and it was as if a batsman was playing in the name of Kagiso Rabada. So you gave him an opportunity to play strokes, and they kept on playing strokes. You did not have any idea, probably you went into the shell and you wanted things to happen with 50 runs required for 2 wickets in a low scoring game, and that was very disappointing. And unfortunately, Shan Masood as a captain is starting to get exposed, and people are getting frustrated now.
I wouldn't have even, you know, I would have actually appreciated to, even if he came out to bowl himself as well, at least something would have been different. And you know, you just upset the batters with that as well.
See, I can give you an example from today itself. This is what is proactive captaincy is all about. They brought in Travis Head and they got the wicket of Rishabh Pant. Where? At the boundary, deep mid wicket. That is what you try to do. Once the formula that you have adopted is not functioning properly, you need to change. See, doing one thing all the time and not getting the result, if you try it once again, the result would be the same. If you want change of results, you have to change your method and methodology.
Well, certainly, I think that really has now been put into conundrum as well. But Jabbar Faisal, the bigger question then would eventually become, if Shan Masood after this series or in the near future is removed from the captaincy, then his very place in the test side is a big question mark.
I think we should think positively, and we should not see the to remove as after this series. Maybe next match he performed well. There are a lot of mistakes. I already said before in the program. He did mistake, and I think he will learn with the passage of time. But Shan Masood is the basic thing on his batting. He should concentrate on batting. Captain should perform. His performance is very low. That is most important point for him. Captaincy he will learn with the passage of time. That is not issue. The real issue, why he is not scoring in the match. Big matches, he should realize his responsibility. He should take all the team better with him to make a good total or good thing.
Well, I think going forward, it's going to be very, very difficult for Shan Masood. The pressure is going to mount. He still has to open the innings, considering Pakistan don't go for a major change in the next test match. So, it would take a big innings probably for him, and it won't just be about that innings as well. Pakistan's win or loss ratio in test cricket, because after this you've got 2 test matches against the West Indies at home, which more probably you're likely to win as a team.
Not easy. For me, I know that there's a philosophy going on that just just remove the grass and let's see what teams win. But it's a different team set over here. Two things about Shan Masood Ahmed bhai. He averages around 15 or 16, and that's not the average of a captain. When you talk about the international standards, you need to raise that. See, he has got bulk of runs in the domestic, bulk of runs in the county circuit. But when you're a captain of a team of a Pakistan, that means everyone is looking at you. They want runs from you because it's not an easy job. Again, I'm telling you, because you have to fight for 2 to 3 things when you're team captain, just not your place as a captain. Even you have to fight with the media, you have to fight with the social media, you have to fight with the team decision making powers, everything. So it's not an easy thing over here. So that's where you psychologically you need to be very strong over here. That's why I said what I've found about Shan Masood is that he's completely lost. I mean, whenever there's some difficult situation on Pakistan team, he's completely lost. I mean, if you just look at his face expressions, it seems that he's away from the match. He's thinking about something else. He needs to talk to the players. He needs to talk. Whenever you have any mistake, whenever thing is going on, you have some senior players, you just gather them, you just make some decisions. What's best for Pakistan team? That's where he really needs to perform well as a captain. When you're batting as an opening department, what I told you, when it's Shan Masood, Saim Ayub, for me as a captain, obviously when I'm a captain, I would say one thing: Saim needs to play his natural game because he's a stroke player. You can't let him to go into shallow. If you tell him to just block deliveries, stay on the wicket for 20-25 overs, just play normal game, that would spoil him. That would be against his quality, what he plays. He's a stroke player. Let him play his strokes. Shan Masood is there to rotate the strike. That's where you get the pressure easy on. But one thing what I love, the beautiful comment was from Bavuma when he said that I was in the washroom and then I knew that it's just 15 runs left that South Africa are going to win on.
It's too harsh to say, but in those dying moments, I wish our skipper was in the toilet and somebody else was, leading that charge, because like I said, it's no rocket science to put 6-7 fielders around the batter and make him do something out of the extraordinary. And Rabada was already hitting it down the track. Had he gone for it against a spinner, Salman Ali Agha's drift, which has made him more successful in the one days, would have propelled you with a chance of a bowled or a LB or something going up front. But that being said, Pakistan still have another test match. Hopefully, we always are positive that, and optimistic that things improve. We now come to the Border Gavaskar Trophy, where it's been chaos for India. And I think a lot is being said from former Indian cricketers to the comm box to everybody around. But it's a very critical moment in India's test cricketing history. Let's take a look.
Australia defeated India by 184 runs in a thrilling finish to the 4th Test in Melbourne, taking a 2-1 lead in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Set a target of 340 runs in 92 overs, India played cautiously throughout, lacking ambition to chase the total. However, a brilliant evening session saw Australia take the last 7 wickets for just 34 runs. Bowling India out for 155 runs, opener Jaiswal fought hard for a draw, scoring 84 of 208 balls, but was dismissed by Pat Cummins with 21 overs remaining. Rishabh Pant, 30 from 104 balls, was the only other batter to reach double figures.
Catch! Takes it! Mitchell Marsh holds on to it! Travis Head breaks through! Something for Australia!
Before he was dismissed after tea, sparking a dramatic collapse. Cummins and Scott Boland each claimed 3 wickets, while Nathan Lyon took 2. The series concludes in Sydney on January 2nd, where a win would secure Australia's place in the World Test Championship final.
Oh, big shout! Finger goes up! Lyon does the job for Australia! We're going to go upstairs. Siraj says I need to review it.
Well, there you have it. Sabah gives us all the details of Australia's remarkable win in this test match. And although there's a test match to go, but I think this test match had so much of a psychological advantage that, you've just put the other team out of contention. Usman, how would you analyze this game? Especially, I think India is in a lot of pressure at the moment. And although there have been certain performances, but they're not, collectively contributing to the team.
Say India have a huge problem regarding their senior batsmen. The batsmen are not performing. If you look at Jaiswal, he's in his first tour, Ritesh Reddy first tour. They are the standard performance as far as batting is concerned. If you look at the bowling, it's only Bumrah. So out of 11, 3 players are performing, the rest are struggling. You can give some credit to Rahul as well, but today's collapse just did not spare anyone apart from Jaiswal. And Jaiswal went down slightly unlucky down the leg side. He got caught. Otherwise, the other Indian batters, they just threw away their wicket. Look at Rohit Sharma. He was playing short. Kohli was playing short. and even Rishabh Pant was playing short. So at a time when you want to defend you and play out the day, you are getting out on boundaries that is not fair enough. And you say that that is your natural game, you are in immense pressure. Looking at how Kohli got out, this is not the first time, this is the nth time he got out playing this kind of a stroke, not just in his career but in this series as well. And as far as Rohit Sharma is concerned, he was blocking the ball all day, but he got out on playing a stroke. So India has a lot of questions to answer and they are struggling big time. Apart from Bumrah, they just don't know how to get about the playing conditions. Even if you look at their team, they don't have as many bowlers that they should be having this in these kind of conditions. They have 4 bowlers and they play with specifically 3 top class bowlers. The 4th one is probably an all-rounder, Nitish Kumar Reddy. He bowls a bit, but I think he's more of a batsman. But as far as their batting is concerned, they are probably more concerned about their batting than their bowling. In this test itself, at 191 for 6 and then 91 for 6, twice they had Australia on the mat, but they got away because of their tail-enders, and the tail-enders came into the picture once India's main bowlers got tired. So these are some of the decisions that the Indian team need to make, and I think they are massively confused because the captain himself is not performing. Once your captain is not performing, he cannot have good decision making capabilities on or off the pitch, and that is what has been shown today. Australia, with their captain, he is flying and he is firing all cylinders. 2 40s in 2 innings and picking 3 4s in both the innings was a remarkable job, and scoring runs and picking up wickets at crucial times has become the mantra of Pat Cummins, and he has shown how to lead from the front, and this Australian side is booming because of their captain.
Well, certainly, I think that's a very particular strategy that has worked for Australia. And I think you've got to give credit to Pat Cummins of West, the way he was given the captaincy, you know, at a very difficult time from Australia. From there onwards, there's been a lot of criticism and pressure on the Australian team after losing the first test match, but they've clearly not looked behind.
I remember, Ahmed bhai, when you talk about Pat Cummins, I mean, vital runs in both the innings and taking around 6 wickets. I mean, if you just talk about the both innings, it was a vital run. If I remember, everyone talks about Pat Cummins, everyone talks about the Maxwell innings, if you remember, against Afghanistan, but literally that was Pat Cummins. He stood there because if you talk about his nature, he's not that kind of a player who would actually stay on the wicket for prolonged time. He's a naturally stroke player. He loves to have strokes on the bat, but he was there. That was a vital role. That shows what captaincy skill he has. He has been leading well the Australian side, and that's what Australia team is known for. I remember in the first test match, even we were talking off air that everyone criticized the Australian team that whether IPL was on the head, going on the way they were having laughter. It wasn't a serious kind of a match. Even the Australian media was after that, even after Pat Cummins. But that's what masterclass Australia has. Psychologically, they are strong. Sledging the way they have done. See, many of them say sledging is not a good thing. But for me as a fast bowler, I would say I love sledging because that's where you actually test the nerves of a batsman. You keep him under pressure, and that's where the batsman actually performs in that kind of situation. So Australians are known for that. But one thing about the Bison, I'm seriously confused. I mean, what role he has in the Australian team? I'm talking about Mitchell Marsh. I mean, is he a batting all-rounder or a bowling all-rounder? Because if you talk about his bowling, he's just given 2 overs. And if you talk about his batting, if I talk about Test cricket specifically, he's more suited to as a fast bowler. But I don't know what role is he getting in the Australian team over here. But good sign to see Labuschagne performing, Smith performing, because Labuschagne was under a lot of scrutiny. I remember Smith was under a lot of radar. So a good sign for India, but it's going to be an amazing test series. The last test again, I would say it would be.
32 matches as captain and 19 victories. It's a remarkable stat for Pat Cummins as an Australian skipper.
I mean, many of them, I personally feel, many of them would rate Ricky Ponting was one of the best captains, obviously, Australia ever had, but he is not less than that. Seriously, the way he has led Australian team till now, I mean, the simplicity I love about him. If you remember when they won the World Cup in India, while going back, look at his simplicity. I mean, that was a simple thing for him, and the class what he had shown in India. If you remember the World Cup win, that was a superb performance as a captain. When they had many big names in it, Smith was there. They had Labuschagne, who were very favourites to be again a captain, even David Warner, but he was chosen as a captain and he led the Australian team really well over here. That's what a class Australia carries on, but he's one of the marvellous, I would say one of the guys who would be really remembered after Ricky Ponting, one of the best captains what Australia had.
Certainly, and I think Jabbar Faisal, you would agree that Pat Cummins has really been the great captain for Australia at a time when they needed it the most, and I think this series as well, We've seen him step up in both domains as a batter and a bowler, obviously his primary role. But as a batter, his contributions have really mattered for Australia.
Actually, he knows how to use the bowler, this basic strength, and the batters also scoring good, and that's why they are bit easy. And at the tail, many times, and again Afghanistan, you know, in World Cup he played, supported very well the other guy who scored double 100, and this is very natural thing when the lower order batting or middle one collapse, rest should put realize some responsibility, and they do, just like South African did. They are also supporting their batters with the little contribution. Just like in Indian batting, you, in the second innings only 2 batter in the double figure, rest of all
Collapse,
less than.
yes.
And Mr. Extra was third top scorer, third scorer, and this should be realized. And they are at home, playing at home surface. You know, they are well adjusted in the all atmosphere, and they are well prepared to tackle the India.
Certainly, and I think it makes a lot of difference for them as well. But Usman, you'd like to add something regarding this entire scenario?
See, looking at Pat Cummins, how his career started. Once he came into the Australian side, everybody was talking about that this player is going to be huge. He started really well against the South Africans in the Test series in South Africa. Then there was a time when he got out for a long-term injury. Yet Australians invested in him big time. They knew that he was something special, and he came back and he started performing the way he left. And once the opportunity arose for selecting a new captain, it was always Pat Cummins. Looking at his mental strength, it is just not about his bowling or batting capabilities. It is about how mentally strong and how well he is the reader of a cricket match. Awais and Sir was talking about the Afghanistan game. True, the way he kept on blocking, that was not in his nature, but he knew that was the time when he need to do something that was unusual of him, and that was the only way that they were going to win. That is what happened. And even if you look in this Australian series as well, talking about the way he has utilized Travis Head, he does not have the arsenal that Ricky Ponting had, about the Gilchrist, Haydens, the Simons, but he has someone like a Simon in his team, that is Travis Head. Looking at that 2023 World Cup, when Travis Head broke his arm, it was always clear that he was the one they wanted, and they did not take a replacement for him. And as soon as he got fit, he was straight brought back into the Australian side as an opener and scored 100 against the New Zealanders. So this is how clear-minded this Australian side is. Even talking about the top 3, just before this test match, when the media said that they are going to drop one of the players from the top 3, yet he supported all 3. Because they were not scoring runs, that was an open secret. But what he said, that at least they eat up the first 20-25 overs, that brings us to Travis Head with full with a condition where he can score freely, because Travis Head was the one who was scoring all the runs. So this is how you support your players even if they are not performing well. This is how you study the game. This is how you utilize the resources you have even if they are limited. I don't say this Australian side is unbeatable. They are definitely beatable. Pakistan has shown how they can be beaten. But with the captaincy, with the cricketing mind on his shoulder, I think he has that synergy effect from this Australian side which many captains won't have.
Certainly, and I think that speaks for itself as well. But let me just give you a very interesting stat as we close up. And if you talk about batters from number 8 to 11 who have scored, Asian batters who have scored hundreds in Australia at position of number 8 till 11, then alongside Reddy, there's only Yasir Shah. Only 2 of them, and that
I think it was Adelaide.
Yes, that was a fantastic 113 that he scored, and of course Reddy got 114. But thank you very much, Usman, Jabbar, Faisal, and Awais for joining us. That wraps up Sports Extra. From me and the entire team, it's goodbye for now.